Hello? Is anybody out there? Can you hear me? Welcome to the 100 TV. Real conversations with real people. All of this has been an evolution. Nothing about this journey is how I thought it was going to be. Shout out to the Free Game Society, man. Shout out to everybody, Team 100. Shout out to everybody that just keeps rocking, that understands what's going on here. We're just trying to make changes without compromising the truth, right? We're not up here just for the views. We're here for the impact. But you be the judge, man. Lock in with us. We can agree to disagree, But regardless, we're going to keep it 100. You can't keep it 100 with anybody unless you keep it 100 with yourself, man. Let's be clear. You gotta come correct, man. They'll pick you apart nowadays, man. People doing homework, you know what I'm talking about? So when we talk, we talking from a perspective of experience. We talking through the life journey, our ups and downs. We giving it to you that way, right? But who are we though, man? We just like y'all. You ready? Alright, come on in. We going in. The 100 TV. Y'all better tap in, man. Like, follow, subscribe, hit the notification buzzer, all that stuff, man. So when we live, y'all live, man. Become a part of the conversation, man. It's not my platform, it's our platform. 100. You just let that ride, man. You know what I'm saying? 100. That's all I know. I think we on to something, man. And oh, by the way, free my brother, man. Free Jefferson Ellie, aka Poetic Life of Law, man. Free all my brothers. Free everybody needs to be free. Y'all know what we're doing this for. There's a backstory behind everything. Let's go. Hello? Peace, peace, peace to the planet Earth, man. What more can I say? For the first time ever, in a long time, I ain't gonna say the first time ever, but in the first time in a long time, man, I am a free man. Today I got the call, going straight into it, that I am off of probation. Oh, man. And let me say, I got locked up February 12th, 2003, and I was sentenced to 144 years. Getting straight into it, all suspended, but 19. And it's been a long ride. I came home January 13th of 2020, right before the world was about to end. If you know, you know. So I came home after just about 17 years of prison to the pandemic, trying to adjust to society, and I had indefinite probation over my head, and that's what we're getting into right now. My thoughts. I don't even know where to start, y'all. My thoughts on probation. First and foremost, if you're on my content, if you're on my page, if you've seen any of this, if you've never been a part of the system, man, I want to encourage you not to become a part of the system. I want to tell you first and foremost, man, that, and excuse me real quick, man, we streaming everywhere. There you go. First and foremost, like I said, man, if you've never been to the system, man, don't come. I can tell you through experience, it is not worth it. Once your time is gone, it's gone. You don't get it back. I want to encourage anybody that's in the streets, anybody that's still playing with fire that think they can get away forever. I want to encourage you to stop immediately. law enforcement is getting smarter and smarter, and they're getting bolder and bolder. When you look at things like Cop City here in Atlanta, you look at other things that are being built right now. They're getting smarter, and I don't know. In a lot of ways, our tricks stay the same. And when I say that, I'm talking about the brothers in the street, man. We got to get to a place where we understand that there is a system in place that's designed to lead you to prison. It's designed to lead you to the casket. What I was about to say before I had a little technical glitch is a smart man learns from his own mistakes, but a wise man learns from the mistakes of others. And that's what this page and this content and this posts and everything else is all about. The goal is that hopefully you guys will learn through experience, not just through my voice, what my past, reflections, but through the past reflections of others. Shout out to all the powerful voices that get up here, tell their stories, tell the truth to what's going on, and bring light to it. My thoughts, back to the probation thing. I can tell you it was bittersweet for me the whole time. I was on an interstate compact from Virginia. When I came, I did my time in VA. And let me say this, I was in VA for 2 days when they let me out. Matter of fact, one night. The second day I was on my way. That first day, me and the wife, yes, I came home married. Shout out to my wife. We spent time with the family. You had to stop with Mom Dukes and get that good home cooked meal and all that stuff. But that second day, straight to Georgia. I had about 5 days, I think it was, to report to Georgia. Me, I reported ASAP. Matter of fact, I reported so quick, they told me I reported too soon. They said, you got to wait to report. I did not play around. It was funny, right? And I like it. Shout out to Reform too, Reform Alliance. I just got to do a whole interview, man. They're saying they're going to use my story to help push some legislation in regards to probation and parole reform. So we'll see, man. I'm just glad to do my part. But now I'm going to talk about it here. My concern is with probation and parole is how many people are getting tricked up on it when they shouldn't be. How many people are being put in situations where, man, it becomes so frustrating, or they feel like they don't have the right resources or the needs being met, or even a voice that's being heard. My probation, I was so low risk that I think I see my probation officer once in person. Then the pandemic hit, they started shutting everything down. I was on a call-in status. So, I could FaceTime my probation officer. That was good. And then I know one time I went to call my probation officer to report, and they no longer worked there. Nobody had notified me, gave me the heads up. So that's the first time I found out I had a new probation officer. They called me into the office immediately. Thank goodness. I was living the right way, even though I had not had to report in months in person. I had to submit a year analysis for a new PO, all that good stuff. And then they put me on call-in status almost immediately. Call-in status was sweet. Like, it was cool because now once a month, I don't have to show up. I don't have to report. I just got to hit some numbers on the phone once a month, and I keep it moving. And at first it was good, but man, let me tell you something. You want to be able to communicate with your probation officer. You want to. And there was moments where it was just no communication to the point where my PO had changed 2 more times without me even knowing, because I no longer had to report in person. These are the things that happen. Now think about this. My probation officer changed several times while I was on probation without me being known, without me being notified. How many different ways that could have went if I would have gotten in trouble or anything? There would have been no face to represent me, nobody that could say, you know what, he checked in every month, he paid off all his fines. There would have been nobody. Nobody whatsoever. And I can tell you this, the actual probation office had moved locations and addresses, and I had not been notified. I had to find out again from me calling in. I say all that to say, obviously, there's probably people that went through way more frustrating situations when it comes to probation and parole, but man, I can see how easy it is to get tricked up. I remember one time my probation officer, this is back in 2020, as they were shutting everything down. I was working at a factory, but here comes the pandemic and everybody's getting sick and they shutting everything down. And I remember my PO back then, telling me like, yo, you got to keep a job regardless. Like, that's not our fault. And I'm looking at like, what job am I going to keep? Then I look at the other things because I had lost contact with my probation officer for so long, and they had switched so many times that nobody really knew who I was or what I was doing. And there was a moment where I had got featured on the news. You know what I'm saying? Atlanta News First, CBS, about how I was in prison. I came home. I'm a principal now of a vocational school that I co-own with my wife. And I remember calling probation because I wanted to share that information with them because I'm thinking like, okay, that's going to motivate them to take me off or whatever. And I was like, hey, just wanted to call and let you guys know I was just in the news. I own a school, blah, blah, blah. And they basically was like, yo, okay. They're like, do you get a W-2 from there? Listen, I own my business, and no, that's not how it necessarily works. I didn't necessarily get a W-2 from there. But I own the business. I was in the news. My name's on the paperwork. They didn't care. Thankfully, I'm one of those guys, though I have a business, I still got a job. I still got a 9 to 5. And I was able to present my W-2s from there. But man, you would have thought, because there was a period where I was not working for anybody. I was simply working for myself. Man, would they have let me off then? They didn't even care about the accomplishments. I think a lot of the probation officers, just a lot of people in the field, man, I think, it's not necessarily their fault. I think there's a lot of burnout. There's a lot of turnover. But the scary thing is a lot of times we get caught in the crossfire. I urge everybody, man, if there's an issue, with probation, make sure you're communicating that. Make sure you're keeping a track record. Make sure you're sending emails, because emails are a digital footprint that'll basically share or show that, hey, you had an issue or you were inquiring about something. Make sure when you're on probation, you're moving in the right way, man. Do not underestimate the fact, because I've had times they call me, hey, on your social media. Depending on your PO, they watching your social media, or you just pop up. And I've been telling people this for the longest. Think about this, man. When it comes to your social media, when it says people you might know or blah, blah, it's because they're in your contacts or you in theirs. So if you got a probation officer and you in their contacts or you in theirs, guess what's going to happen? They're going to pop up on people you may know on your social media, and they're going to watch what you do. I'm telling you this. I had a whole conversation with a PO that broke this down. It's really easy. It's 1 + 1 is 2, man. So make sure you're doing these things. If there's an issue, don't be scared to communicate or go over your probation officer's head if there's an issue with who you're dealing with. You got to be smart. Make sure that you're establishing your own track record. I don't want to say this always negative, because at the same time, I never had a probation officer that gave me a hard time. It was just miscommunications and the lack or the lapse in communications in my situation that could have impacted me negatively. But there are probation officers you could build a rapport with. You know what I'm saying? You can, in the right way, you can show and establish, you moving it, and that'll help. Because it's not always, I don't want to paint the picture that everybody's negative, but at the same time, if you sense negativity or there's a situation where we ain't really clicking like that, remember, this is the person that's responsible for making sure you either don't get locked up, or that's going to be the one to say, you know what, I'm going to lock them up. So you can't deal with that person or your probation officer like they're just a coworker or a situation like that. This is real life. I do believe wholeheartedly that men and women get violated at times just based on how that PO is feeling in a moment. Just like judges when it comes to sentences. Shout out to everybody that's hopping up here, man. When you look at it, and I think of just the ways that men and women recidivate or end up violating on probation, a lot of times it's substance abuse related, or it's domestics. We're seeing a lot of domestics now when I'm talking to people. I'm definitely not gonna put no names and businesses out there, and I want to say this: it's crazy, right? Because it's not always a physical thing, right? It's never right in any way. But brothers, stop arguing with you. Stop raising your voices and yelling. Because I'm gonna tell you what happened to somebody I know. You raise your voice, you yelling at your old lady, y'all yelling back and forth. The neighbors call. Neighbors call the police, right? Then what happened? Police come. Now, in some states, it's not up to anybody but them to lock you up. And guess what? Because you're the man, you're going to get locked up. And even if you beat that charge, even if, you just yell, guess what? You still had a negative interaction with law enforcement. And that can still lead to a technical violation. Seeing a lot of that too. Pay attention to how people are getting violated around you. We talk. We hear about it. Hopefully you're walking the straight and narrow, but I'm real. I understand everybody doesn't. Some people take a gamble here and there. But man, hopefully you don't take the wrong one. Hopefully you don't at all. The goal is to get off probation and never look back. My wife asked me, then I gotta say this. She said, "How do you feel? You got your pay. You off pro." She was happy, you know what I'm saying? And I think I'm still registering. It's still, I'm still clicking or, breaking it down in my mind or whatever. But man, just to think over 20 years, I had to wait for a piece of paper to get permission. So now I can travel freely. I never thought about the seriousness of that, right? I gotta definitely tie this. So back in the day when slavery existed, because they say it's over, quote unquote, uh, slaves would get their walking papers so they could go to different plantations, right? So they could travel freely without the fear of being lynched. At least that's how it was supposed to work. And because at least this piece of paper could say I'm owned by such and such, so don't hang me. Let me travel freely to where I'm going because I'm conducting business. When you look at probation, it's similar, right? You got to go and you got to get a piece of paper that says I can travel to this state. I can travel to this state. I remember having to get permission to travel to Virginia, a few states away. That's serious. Now I can get in the car. I can just drive. I can go. I can hop on a plane. There's something about the act of having to ask to go on vacation with your family that always moved me wrong. Monique just put in there, man, passport time. You already know. I got 2 or 3 places that are already on the list, man. It's definitely passport time. For me, it's time to see the world. It's time for more experience. And I think I was still moving in a way that was cautious for the right reason. And I'm not saying I'm not still moving cautious, but I feel like I can speak freer if I'm being transparent. I can move freer. Not that there's too much of a shift, but man, for me, I say it is what it is. I had to drop a couple tears. I dropped a couple because, again, I got to say this. I got locked up February 12th, 2003. I never came home, right? Till January 13th, 2020. I was on papers. It was indefinite. They could have cut me off for as long as they wanted. I'm finally home. I'm finally free. I'm finally off papers. The timing is perfect. There's a lot of good stuff, stuff I've been working really hard on in the background is starting to manifest. So, it's just good timing. I'm staying focused and just really appreciating the moment. I feel lighter. And I feel like it's crazy. I put it on Facebook and I think it had like 100 and some likes or whatever, and people are sharing it. When people get off probation in our community, it's a holiday. I know if I was in VA, I'm like, it's crazy. I'm about dying here in Atlanta really by myself, but it's all right. It's okay. If I was in VA with the brothers, man, well, we wouldn't be doing much because I don't drink or nothing like that. But I don't know what we'd be doing. It'd be celebration. I already know. Shout out to everybody in VA that's getting off, that got off. Probation is a hard thing. I try to explain anybody that's never experienced probation. Another thing I want to say is I'm just getting to do my probation rant. Is that it's literally like you walking around with a storm cloud over you or a target on your back. Not that you're gonna move reckless in society. No, that's not what you're doing. That's not what the game is. But every interaction, you know what I'm saying? You just gotta be. I remember getting into an argument with a guy. He was drunk. Me and my wife were out on a date, minding our business. This guy is drunk. He starts getting reckless for no apparent reason. I'm not going to engage the guy, but there's a little verbal exchange because I'm trying to back him up off it so we can get him up out of there, or get us out of there. Excuse me. And I'm just thinking after the fact, I was like, yo, they could have called the police. They could have said we was arguing. That's scary. The simple fact that I can go a little bit deeper. A few nights ago, about a week ago, I accidentally set the alarm off at work. It's like 3:30 in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, whatever it is. One of the only days I go in early. Thank goodness I don't have to do that no more. And alarm goes off, now I got to wait for the police. And I'm sitting there, it's 4 in the morning. In my mind, I'm still off probation. Actually, I've been off probation, guys, for about 3 weeks. I just didn't know it because nobody told me. That's another thing. But till today. when we called. I should have said, well, I didn't get the call. We called, but I have to wait for the police at 4 in the morning, and then hopefully, it's all good because of course they ask for your ID, and then I'm thinking like, yo, it's gonna pop that I'm on probation, da da da. Like, yo, these are the things. These are the things. It's like there's always an elephant in the room when you're on probation. To my people that's on probation, don't be scared to establish boundaries with the people around you and let them know that you got to move specific. You have to move specific because your path is different. What you're facing is different. What's over your head is different. Um, you can't afford to necessarily move like somebody that wasn't in prison. It's not that you should be confined by that thought, but it's still part of your reality. It's still part of the weight that you bear. Everybody's got some weight that they bear. But for us right there, that happens to be it. You got to stay on point. Um, Move with purpose. I talked to one of my homeboys. He said, yo, when I first came home, I was on probation. He's like, I basically was shaking people down before they got in my car. And knowing how big he is, he might be telling the truth. He might have literally been shaking them down. But yeah, with the questions, I remember, it would be awkward. It wasn't awkward because I don't mind, right? So it wasn't awkward, but I know a couple times I made people I was with awkward because I'm like, yo, you dirty? Before you get in the car, like, yo, bro, you can't get in a ride. Sometimes I would just say that. I remember in my home would be like, man, you judging me, bro? But I'd be like, bro, you can't get in the ride dirty. He'd be like, dang. And maybe I should have asked, but hey, man, we ain't gonna play that game. How many times have I heard somebody get violated because they get pulled over when their homeboys had a gun in the car or some drugs? And all y'all that's on probation, you need a ride and shit. Yo, don't stop taking gambles talking about it's just one ride and your homeboy got the stick on him. You know what I'm saying? It could be that one ride that do you. Now you sitting in prison for 4 or 5 years. Like, come on, man. Because it definitely has. Monique said you have to ask. You better ask. You better stay on point. You better be on point. What's some more thoughts about probation, man? I think probation, it can motivate an individual if you're wired that way. You know what I'm saying? You can use it as a chip on your shoulder. I think I did. I think I use it as a chip on my shoulder to kind of, accomplish as much as I can, and cause an impact as much as I can. Um, you know, but at the other side, if you don't look at probation like that, it can freeze your progress up, because I do know some people that are on probation. They're like, man, I can't wait till I get off so I can do this, or I can't have a business. No, you can't have a business. Yeah, you can move like this, but yes, probation does affect certain things like housing, etc. So yeah, hold on, I'm going over these comments too, y'all. It's disrespectful to even ride with someone who's on or dirty with someone who's on probation. Yeah, but people do it, and a lot of times people on probation ride with people that are dirty. Like, you need a ride? Yeah, your homeboy that can give you the ride at 10 a.m. in the morning, no harm and disrespect. He might be able to do that because he in the streets all day. I'm not saying he is. Maybe he just works nights. But, yo, be careful who you ride with, man. Because I done seen it all. I done heard it all. I done got them calls. Yo, bro, I don't, like, what? Other thing, man, I think about probate, like, oh, you're not even supposed to be able to be around certain people on probation. That's what people don't understand, man. A lot of situations, they have stipulations where you can't be around other felons, etc. Like, man. And these are some of the brothers that I build with, that I rock with, that I know are stand-up guys. Now, they don't enforce this necessarily, but if they wanted to get, nitpicky or whatever, they definitely could, because I've heard stories. Stay on point. Everybody that's on probation, I think it's important, if you have an opportunity to communicate in the right way, as far as what you need, you should. Again, if you can communicate via email, you always should. Yeah, verbal conversation is good, but man, form that paperwork. If you feel like you're somebody that's having issues with mental health, for instance, because I've heard a couple of individuals that I feel like got violated or technicals based off mental health issues that should have been addressed. If you're somebody that's, I'm not right, I'm having trouble sleeping at night, I got PTSD, anxiety, whatever it is, make sure you put that in an email too. Because if you're not getting the help that you need and you're asking for the help, or you're not able to get the help, it's documented. So if anything does go wrong, you've got a paper trail or electronic trail saying, hey, I was trying to get help. And the reason I say that is because, again, unfortunately, I know somebody that's going through a situation like that now, where he wasn't on his meds and it wasn't his fault, and something occurred and that was it. So also be careful on social media when you're on probation. I know people got violated in pictures with others smoking weed or having guns. I just spoke about that earlier. People be like, how did my probation officer see this? Well, obviously they know your names, but they don't even, a lot of times I talk to probation officer, I'll bring it up one more time. They're like, yo, we weren't even looking for people. What happens is, if I'm in your contacts or you in my contacts, you're gonna pop up on each other's people you may know list on social media. It happens all the time. Friends suggestions, etc. You're gonna see people if they're in your contacts 9 times out of 10, man. I don't know why people think that the feds ain't got Facebook. I don't know why people think that the feds or the police don't have Instagram. I don't understand. If you think, you know what I'm saying, they don't, hey, I don't know what to tell you. Stay on point. Somebody, Leah's most said they take your picture and scan it on Google or their portal. Oh man, I didn't even think about that. Facial recognition. Oh, again, law enforcement is elevating the game. If you're on probation, think you can get away with it. The moral story is if they want you, they can get you. You know what I'm saying? Stay on point. Is not playing no games. Some more thoughts. I ain't really got. I just wanted to hop up here real quick. I'm definitely gonna have some conversation with some brothers about their experiences on probation. Reform Alliance gave me that idea. I definitely want to get some people to speak about that. But all in all, I think I'm still registered. It's still clicking. You know what I'm saying? I'm celebratory. I'm appreciative of the moment. I'm off probation. That's a blessing. Definitely never giving them a moment more of my time. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I think it'll hit me in a couple days from now. I think it'll hit me when I can put it for my passport. You know what I'm saying? Well, I can, but when I get it, I think there's gonna be certain moments when it really hits. Anybody that's on probation or parole that's dealing with frustration or whatnot, man, stay focused. Keep going. If you ran into a snag, you know what I'm saying, you might have got violated, let you back out, or you're an individual that may have been back 2 or 3 times, just know that doesn't have to continue to happen. Do not let their titles or terms dictate and define the path that you are traveling. Remember, they're humans like us. Their position is just different. But it's up to us to give them value or take away. It's through our actions that happens. Again, stay focused. You know what I'm saying? Do away with the stigmas. Communicate if there's issues. Let it be known. Make sure you're making the right move so you can get free. Remember, people, places, and things are the number one reasons that people get violated. Don't go back to the same hood. Don't be around the same people. And don't be doing the same things. The police are looking for you to go back to bad habits or the things that you went into. That's why if you're a drug dealer, they're gonna give you urinalysis all the time. If you're in this or that, they're gonna make sure you're in programming for this and that. They looking for you to go back that way. If you're somebody that never been in the system, again, I got to say it one more time, don't go. It's not worth it. The hype is not real. I can't tell you. Again, I'm gonna hop back up here. I'm gonna do a part 2 eventually, but man, to give up over 20 of my years to the state, that's tough. That's all I'm gonna say. Some people like, yeah, bro, you made it look good. I guess. You know what I'm saying? I might have. I survived it. I kept going. I made progress, true indeed. I'm not gonna sit here and pout, but hey, I went in when I was 19. I came out when I was 36. I'm just getting off probation at 39. So either way you look at it, it was real. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, I don't know. If you got a story you want to get up here and talk about your experience on probation, parole, etc. Also, if you want to get involved, man, with weaving, educational genealogy, occupation development. I think I always butcher that, man. But me and my brother's nonprofit, his 501c3 that I'm able to help out with, let me know. We're starting to really get into these group facilitating classes and all that stuff. We inviting the men, women, the youth, them, all of that to become a part of the conversation in a more interactive way. We look to stimulate thought, man, wake some people up. amplify some voices that probably need to be heard more too. To each and every one of you, man, I'm feeling good. I definitely just had to hop up here real quick for 30 minutes and talk about probation because I'm finally free. Shout out to everybody that's been showing love on social media to me. It's definitely a holiday, man. I gotta look. I don't even know what date it is. What's today's math, son? Because I don't even. I'm so tired from the grind. I can't even tell you. And everybody else, keep chasing your dreams. Keep going. I'm telling you, if I can do it, y'all can do it too. Until next time.